Welcome to the web series, The Hero's Call, where champions of safety and justice in the community are profiled. The series is co-hosted by attorney Mark Diller and his colleague, Dr. John Naranja. Dr. John is both an attorney and a doctor.
Today, our guest is Stan Helinski of the Helinski Law Offices. Since the pandemic, Stan has been doing remarkable things for our community. He's been making medical equipment and PPEs out of his house and distributing them to medical facilities, nursing homes, and frontline workers. Stan, welcome to the Hero's Call. Thanks for being our guest here today.
Sure, thanks for having me.
Could you please share with us, what is it that we're looking at?
Those are respirators being produced. You see some that are just starting, you see some that are almost done.
Where is this?
This is in my house.
This workshop here, this is in your house?
Yeah, this is in my house.
And what are these, 3D printers?
These are all 3D printers, yep.
How many 3D printers do you have running right now out of your house?
So I've got in excess of 30. I started with 2, kept sort of growing and growing.
How'd you get involved in doing this, Stan?
Surprisingly enough, I mean, from a personal level, I had some exposure when I was a kid. But when the pandemic first hit, I remember my daughter and I just didn't want to bring her back to school the next day, and then school canceled. And so I wanted to do something. It was it became very clear that there was going to be a lockdown and school was canceling. It was a big deal. I didn't want to just sit around and do nothing.
Had you ever made any PPEs or medical equipment from a 3D printer before this pandemic?
No, I never did.
Why'd you get involved and start making medical equipment and PPEs on 3D printers out of your house?
Well, as I continue to hear the stories that, I have a lot of compassion for themselves out there. And I have a lot of friends in healthcare, my sister's in healthcare, and I'm hearing all these stories about PPE shortages and doctors and nurses getting sick on the front line, families not being able to go in and say goodbye to a family member that's in ICU. They had to do it over FaceTime. That I just felt that I needed to do something.
Stan, what are we looking at right here?
That's the beginning of a respirator that'll be done in probably looking at it in about 3.5 to 4 hours.
So is this how complete is this particular respirator as we're looking at it right now?
That's only about maybe 1/8.
Now, what are we looking at right here?
This was the first one that I got. This one in particular was, this one's not even working. So it's kind of a sore spot for me because the entire extruder, which you see in the middle there, burned out. But this one I got from Brooklyn, New York. When I first got going, it's got a very large print volume, but it's not a great printer. It's not one of the higher end printers.
So now what are we looking at here?
This is a combination of printers that were loaned to me. So this is the same view on the same table. At this point, you're seeing, I'm not going to count them. This is probably 25 and 30 printers. And this was what was going literally around the clock for 2 months.
Now, are those spools on the top of the printer? Is that the plastic or?
Right. Right. When you asked earlier about where does the plastic come from, that's where the plastic comes from.
So it's almost like a cord of plastic.
Right. It's a machine. A company basically just extrudes filaments onto rolls, and we take the rolls and we turn those rolls into models.
Now, what's in the background? It looks like it's kind of it has the lights on in the background type of thing.
Yeah, that's just a different style of 3D printer. Those came to me from Weston High School. Loaned me those, and were utterly thankful.
So you started with a handful of printers, but these photos that you've shown us show that you've got a massive operation going on over there. So How did we go from originally 2 printers to the massive operation that you now have going out of your house in Wellesley?
Yeah, I never expected this to happen. In fact, this picture in particular I took when I was coming down at 4 in the morning to change over a batch to start another line, which I've done for about 2 months. I get up at 4 and switch it over to, because it's a whole another 20 to 30 more respirators.
So Weston High School gave you how many printers?
Initially, they gave me 13. So,
wow.
Yeah, amazing. And at that point, loan. And at that point, I knew I was in it. At that point now, I knew that my life was going to turn into this for some time. And it's great. I've never felt more alive doing this. It's not a bad thing. It's wonderful.
Are you sleeping?
Barely. I'm just starting to a little more now that things are calming down, but I was sleeping 3-4 hours a night.
What are we looking at right here?
Yeah, so this is my final iteration. It's the same one that I'm making now. This is a lot goes into this. This is what's called a copper 3D nano hack respirator. You see that there's a breathing port at the bottom there, holes for elastics, and essentially what happens is this is taken off the line like this. I have dedicated printers that are printing filters that go inside, and then you'll see that there's a little area for a locking mechanism. There.
As you think about these filters, what size is the virus that we're trying to prevent from coming in, and then what size is getting prevented from coming in? Yeah,
so that's a great question. So I could never have answered that question before I started this, but through the help of many, many doctors, people at Kearney, I've learned that the virus is 1.2 microns in size, very, very, very small. Most filters that you see, especially like these surgical filters and cloth masks, they will not prevent anything below 3 microns at the very most, for that matter. That means an aerosol, a virus that's in the air, that's gone into the air, will simply just pass through.
Now, it looks like we're looking at just this. Is this the standard mask that you're making, or are there different sizes that are available, or how does that work?
So this is the standard size. It fits what I understand to be 95% of the population.
So Stan, how do we know that the masks that you're making are going to be safe for use?
As time went by, I understood that the size of the virus was this 1.2 microns, really, really small. And I was able to get filtration. I was able to get filters that we would use for the port that you see right there. That it was simple. It says it will tell you that it will filter out particles between 1 micron and 3 microns at a rate of 94-95%, which is what an N95 is. So I had that confidence, and then I also had all the data on the copper 3D Active, the special medical filament, in terms of what that had the capacity. So I felt pretty good that we were doing the right thing. One of the early things that a doctor did, an internal medicine doctor did, was he explained to me that the way he tests, I kept asking him, what are you doing to make sure that these are safe? He would have nurses and residents, medical staff in the ER put the masks on, put the respirator on, fit it so it fit right, and he would spray perfume in the air. If they didn't smell the perfume, I guess that's okay. That was what worked.
So that
makes sense.
So now you have a filter that's kind of filtering out 96% of the virus, and then you add this copper to it, and that's kind of the second layer of protection because the copper kills the virus or bacteria.
Yeah. We feel pretty good about it.
So now tell us how you're distributing these respirators throughout the Commonwealth.
Yeah. So what these do after they come off after they're produced, after they're created, they go to volunteers. The volunteers affix an elastic band that goes naturally to keep the respirators on. So when they go out, they are ready to be used. You know, I want to make sure that there wasn't any impediment to them using them. I know they're all busy, whether it's a nursing home or medical staff or even, you know, first responders. Everybody's busy. They don't have time to figure out, get elastic for themselves or, you know, get things for themselves. So, you know, I want to make sure that it was ready to put on and use right now. So that's what we do.
What are we looking at here? Is there any significance to the colors that we're seeing?
No. Yeah, I mean, there is a little, the black is black because it's copper fiber. Copper fiber usually comes in black. Red is red because that's the medical grade filaments made by Copper 3D, the Plactive. Plactive is only made in 3 colors. This was all that's available in the world. It's very hard to get.
And how were you able to get them?
I got them from all over. I mean, I got them from Austria, all over Europe. It was, you know, you got to order like 3 weeks in advance because the DHL takes a long time. It's not easy. They're not cheap either. Expensive.
Now, what are we looking at here?
Yeah, so those are the finished ones. That's how they would go out. The same ones you just saw. Those have the foam on them, and those have the elastics on them. You have the filter in them. Then underneath, you'll see that there are some face shields there also. That's what the plastic is. Yep.
Stan, has anybody been helping you during this process and during this project?
I have one woman that's really helped a lot.
And in what way?
Oh, she's coordinated, like, so they come and pick them out. All I do is print. You know, at the very beginning, I did everything. And the man just got unbelievably out of control. So I reached out to some people, and then they took over all of the assembly and calling places and delivering them. All I had to do was print. So I printed around the clock. Every night or early in the morning, I would put out what I had produced that day. They came by, picked it up, and then it was out of my hands.
How about in your house? Is anybody helping you?
My daughter is, I have a 11 going on 18, going on 12-year-old daughter who is, it's been really great. In this case, you know, I just told her, I explained, one of the things I did is I explained to her, she's worried and scared, and we all are. And in one of my talks with her, I discussed the issue with people not being able to go see their loved ones when they're in the ICU, when they got very sick and they had to be in the ICU because they didn't have, the family members wasn't safe for them to go in, and they would have to talk to them over FaceTime, which you all know isn't very personable. So I explained to her that we're providing masks to these people so they can go hold the hand of their mother or father or whomever.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great. And how about financially? Is anybody helping you financially to do all this?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I set up by force of my sister. My sister forced me to set up a GoFund, a crowdfunding site.
Do you have money into this project as well?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's I don't know how much. I probably wouldn't say it even if I did, but yes.
Hey, Stan, what I'm looking at here, it came off of your Facebook profile. It looks like Congressman Joe Kennedy III gave you a special shout out for all the work you and your daughter Gabby were doing to make these 3D printers.
The very first thing I did was bring it to her and show her the comments people were making about her. I sent it to her school, and that to me was just awesome.
If people want to get involved or help you, how does one do that?
Well, I would love I welcome any kind of help. I absolutely love all the people that already have stepped up, and I'd love to see people step up. Such a great thing to see.
Hey, Stan, I want to personally thank you for all the inspirational work that you're doing to help our community. It is really amazing to see how you have stepped up, what a great inspiration you are to your daughter to help her step up and give back to our community that is hurting on so many levels right now. So
Oh my God.
I hope that what you do inspires other people to do great things at a time when our community really needs their help. So thank you so much for everything
sure.
you're doing.
Hey,
Yeah,
Stan, it's really great, and I appreciate the opportunity for us to have this discussion.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for doing it, and thanks for what you guys are doing. It's not hard. It's hard work, but I've said many times that I feel more alive than I've ever felt. I think.
That's great. We need more
It's awesome.
people like you. Thank you, Stan.
Yeah.